And we're live. One more Friday, 5:30 p.m. Kuala Lumpur time, and we're back on the Sheila Exchange once again. And today's topic is banking on food. Now, according to news reports, things are getting a bit pretty dire out there, that Malaysians have had to resort to a system of putting up white flags, those who are in need of food and supplies. All right. Many Malaysians are very reticent about reaching out for help in a very active way. So one way of doing it is to put up the white flags. And today we have several individuals and part of organizations as well who are responding to these needs that are being put out there. And I am Sheila Singham. And today I have with me Lai Lin Fong, who's going to be the host for today's segment. As you all know, once a month we have someone other than me to host the segment so that y'all really don't get tired of just seeing my face all the time. So Lai Lin Fong, thank you very much for agreeing to host today's very, very meaningful segment. And I'm going to hand it over to you right now. Welcome, Lin to the program, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila, for that introduction. So without further ado, I'll just jump right in and start with a little bit of an introduction of our speakers today. We have three NGOs here. One comes from the Ehsan AEC, okay? And they are represented Mr. Nick Muhammad Hafiz. All right, say hello, guys. And then we of course have Nick Adina Taty, and she is from Zero Hunger Sendirian Berhad, as well as that of Mr. Allan Fernandez of Impian. You would wonder how some of these NGOs actually come together to address the food bank issues, but a lot of them were actually stemmed from previous efforts of wanting to meet the community needs. Now, AEC has been around since 2013. Zero Hunger is probably the most recent since last year or the year before. And of course, you have Impian, which are actually professionals who have been coming together with their own funds to be able to support society with laptops and such. So without further ado, I will go straight into AEC. So Nick and Kelana Putera.
All right. Thanks, Lin. For sure. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to Sheila, and thanks to Lin. I used to call you Lin rather than Lin Fong, right? Lin. Okay, Lin.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Allan, and also Nick, Adina Taty from Zero Hunger also. Okay. Nice to meet you all. Salam sejahtera and a very good afternoon to all of us. Okay, and pray that this pandemic swat away. All right. Okay. Well, for every journey.
All right.
All right.
Before we go on, Kelana, before you go on, let me ask you the question. You've been around for a number of years, right? What have you encountered since its inception in 2013 and that you feel need changing? And what do you think those roles are in terms of society so that they can play in making those changes?
Okay, well, for every journey, there is up and down, okay? Doing all this, yes, we do have our own stories, meaning that Amal Ehsan Care or AEC, we started from Kampung, district, our village, our districts, our state, and then the whole Malaysia before I and my team go to refugee camp outside of Malaysia. And since 2013, we see hunger, right? It's not saying that last time when I go to refugee camp, I'm very pleased and I'm grateful, thankful that Malaysia don't have that issue. I think, nice, because Malaysians, we have a lot of food, we are very prosperous. And then one of the main things that AEC can see that needs changing is yang kita perlu, what we need is throughout the years, throughout the journey, is the equality amongst all. Okay, when it comes to humanitarian, there is no such thing as race or religion. I'm staying at Kajang. 1 kilometer from my home is Yeshubin orphanage, orphan punya home. And they call me Papa. I got 40 Indian, Malaysian, I don't like to call Indian, Chinese or what, Malaysian, Indian kids that call me Papa. And AEC send to them food every month without fail, even though before the COVID-19 pandemics. And after that, 2 kilometers from my home is Yayasan Ikhlas, multiracial, what we say for this orang tua, means that for these old folks. So we also go there. Yeah. And then this, that's why I said, when it comes to humanitarian, there is no such thing as race or religion. Okay, and the society is doing a lot nowadays because of this pandemic compared to few years back, which is a good thing. But our fear is that some of them is not doing the right way or to do the proper channel. All right. The impact that should be at 100% might not even reach 50% because their intended action. You know what? Because of the mentality, because of the pandemics, COVID-19 hit Malaysia 2020 and 2021, we are not ready for this type of food banks, hunger, white flag, whatsoever. But that's why I say, when it comes to people needs, humanitarian works, there is no such thing as race or religion. That is another thing that we would be the type of mindset that we need to have, yang share the food across and think about others as well. That is our thing need change. The mindset of Malaysian peoples now is, because our AEC drive is like, we when you hungry, you can wait for two days. Not right.
Okay.
Can you wait your lunch another 2 days? That's why that is our philosophy. Then we have to send.
All right, maybe I can get Allan and or Taty to maybe intervene here. Allan, what about your thoughts? I mean, because you just started about a month ago with feeding the poor and the needy in Johor, from what I've known, and that might be something interesting for you to probably add to this.
Hi, afternoon, Lynn. Afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me on. So, officially, Impian is a fairly young charity organization, but our work started back in 2012. So we have two founders. One is Mr. Richard Koh. He runs Co-Medic. It's a pharmaceutical company in KL. And Miss Kelly, she runs the pharmaceutical line here in Jet Pharma in Johor. And she's been an active social worker for many years. So about 8 years ago, Mr. Richard, he broached this idea of starting a program to sponsor a group of school children with the members of a social organization that we are both part of. And it was called the SIS, or Stay in School program. And it's, as I said, it's exactly what it sounds like, right? So we worked with the principals and the teachers of two primary schools in Kulai, SRK Saling, it's a Chinese primary school, and SRK Ladang Sawit, it's a Tamil school. And they identified young boys and girls who were from less fortunate backgrounds. So the members of our organization, we sponsored their books, uniforms, tuition, lunch money, transport, and other expenses. So initially, the plan was just to sponsor 6 children up to primary 6. But, you know, Richard did a brilliant job of marketing the program. So our resources grew, and then we added 9 more schools and more children to the program, and we extended the academic sponsorship for the best and brightest to secondary school and beyond. So to sort of pivot to what you were saying earlier about the hunger, right? We realized that even the smartest kids, they cannot succeed on an empty stomach. And if the children are not eating, chances are the adults and the seniors at home are probably not eating as well, right? And that's when we realized, okay, Miss Kelly and the team, they began actively sourcing food and household supplies to the families and the guardians of the children under our Stay in School program. So in recent years, Impian has taken that program and it's now extended it to anyone and everyone who needs help, especially since the MCO and with a particular focus on the elderly. So what we did was we worked in collaboration with a community childcare center, and as I mentioned earlier, with the principals of the various schools. So that way we get both parents who wish to donate items to the food bank, and we are also in touch with the families of the children, who basically need our food and support. So credit to Miss Kelly and Richard. So they're making the job a lot easier for us. Thank you.
That's good. I know Mr. Richard was very shy when we initially,
Yes.
and he sent a very handsome man in replacement. But in no way, he is actually a very nice person to
Yes.
to speak to. Now, maybe I get Taty involved here as well. Zero hunger is something I think you and a few other partners were very passionate in coming together to set up, I believe, and that is the point behind the word zero hunger too. So maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on how you guys have been contributing to the food bank initiative, as well as something that you call urban farming, teaching people to survive on their own.
Yes. Well, thank you, Lynn. If you forgot, I am shy too, but you kind of twisted my arm to appear saying that, it's an all-men panel. So here I am. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you, Sheila, for having this platform for us. So Zero Hunger is really a platform to reduce hunger. I know the word zero itself is such a big task, and so we started last year. During the start of COVID. There's a few friends getting online. Some of us didn't even know each other, and we only met each other face to face 2 months later after every night with a call. And so basically we just wanted to have a platform to resolve the issues of hunger. And there are many, many things. So one of it is about data collection, verifying the people. And so that's one. And then of course, we don't want to keep on giving handouts. So first we get them out of hunger. And then we think of ways to help them become more sustainable in terms of feeding themselves. And that's where the urban farm projects have slowly kicked in. So we do a little bit with our partners, Lestari Alam, and a few others, where we do farms in PPRs, as well as we get involved with the Gelandangan project. And we also do programs for schools, but these are all very early stages for it. But today's topic, which is food bank, we have a center in the heart of the city in Kampung Baru. It's called Pentas Charity Hub. So our food bank is a 3-in-1 place whereby it is a soup kitchen, it is a food bank, as well as Salvation Army. So it's a 3-in-1. Actually, it's a 5-in-1 because we have a little showcase farm to do farm to table, as well as it is also a space if people want to do classes or reading with children, or upskilling of youth within the area. So this is our base and our headquarters, but of course we do do a lot of help in Sabah Sarawak. Right now we're doing a project with the Burpee for a Cause. So that's one of the campaigns. We did flood. We also do with veterans, the Veteran Association, and that is all across the nation.
Fantastic. So I noticed that, across the board, whether or not it was with AEC, with Impian, with Zero Hunger, okay, that hunger knows no race. So it doesn't matter whether or not you are whatever we are. We could be white, black, green, yellow. Colors shouldn't be actually defined as to what we are and how we are to be fed, right? I can see Kelana actually nodding his head because, we are one multicultural society and we should actually be helping each other, right? But there has been a bit of a conundrum. A lot of people say food banks, okay, look at only the bare essentials, things like dried noodles, rice, oil. What about the other long-lasting kinds of foods like onions and potatoes and all of this? How do we then determine that a good food basket would actually last longer for the amount of money that we use per food basket? Okay, or how do we then say, hey, you guys produce this kind of produce, why don't come together and do something about it? Maybe I can get this Allan to answer this first, and then we'll go to the rest.
Okay, thanks, Lynn. Look, for a small NGO like Impian, we tend to focus on non-perishable essential items to minimize wastage, right?
Okay.
So rice, oil, biscuits. Logistically, at the moment, we lack the ability to store and distribute fresh produce. However, like our Stay in School program, the food bank initiative could grow to support the provision of fresh produce given the right resources. We also concur that food baskets should be filled with more healthier options rather than being loaded with sugar, preservatives, fried goods, right? Of course, this is a challenge for small food banks like ours that rely on public donations, but it's definitely something that we are looking into to sort of expand the range of products that we offer to our recipients.
Okay, Nick, what about you? I mean, you work with AEC and Kelana, and I'm sure that with the number of food baskets that you have distributed, it has ranged quite a bit. What do you think?
Right. So what do I think? I mean, like food wastage, food basket, right? So we're talking about like the ingredients like onion, potatoes, and such. So I would say that the balanced diet or type of ingredients, or in other words, I would say the to produce a wholesome meal. I mean, it can be a very healthy one, but there are few factors that we need to look into, such as the freshness of it when we deliver it to them. So trust me, right? I mean, you don't want to be in a scenario where you accidentally send the rotten ingredients to them, kind of thing. So this is somehow it would demoralize the recipient even more. I mean, like they are really in that state, and then suddenly they receive let's say bad tomatoes or bad onions, those kind of things, right? So in case if I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people know, I mean, in this room, there's still a lot of people out there who actually don't even have a refrigerator at home, and trust me, I've witnessed this myself. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that maybe the reasons why most of food basket consists of these items that we are seeing it nowadays is because of these freshness factors. But if there is an organization created to look into and source for good and complete wholesome food baskets, I mean, by all means, this would be great to have a proper controls of the freshness and everything. Not only they are able to provide recipients, but also we are encouraging them to eat healthy. Back to you, Lynn.
Okay, Taty, maybe it's something to add since you're in the urban farming space.
Yeah, so urban farm is one of the ways, for us to ensure or help them a little bit so that they get this nutritious food. But we also have partners, so partners who manage little farmers, like from Camerons, and even sometimes the bigger superstores, they would come and donate. So we have like a once a month, and we are planning to actually increase where people can come by to our pentas runcit. So they can come and take whatever that they need. So there is no like standard food basket. They just come and take, whether they want chicken, frozen chicken, or they want their veggies, the potatoes, and of course the dry items as well. And then just recently for Hari Raya before the MCO, I had friends who donated cookies, chocolates, and stuff, right? So that was a treat for people to just, come in and take in their stuff, and the ones that we actually have to send to the area. So we partnered with a mosque, and what we did was we donated a freezer, so that people can actually donate frozen chicken, frozen meat, or fish, and that will be distributed to the 14 PPR that they are managing. Because we are talking about urban places, right? I suppose in the villages, you can actually catch your own fish, or you have some chickens running around, right? So we have some, of course, there's also education on healthy food. So things like lentils and all that, those are not so easily perishable, but they're also very healthy. So, you know, those are some of the options that that can be included, but of course, we need to educate the people who are receiving this basket as well.
Okay, so echoing what you said, Tati, about education. So education is key, I believe, in also telling those who donate. It's not just about giving what is easy, but it's also to be able to be healthy along with it, right? Like you mentioned lentils and all of that. Which comes to my next question, like food wastage has always been something when, even with food baskets, you could encounter food wastage too. And I believe with food wastage and the question as to when donations come, right? Whether or not those foods are actually fresh enough to be donated out. How are your NGOs, your charity organizations actually putting this balance measures to ensure that the foods that you get in terms of donation, whether in kind or even when people pay you money to buy those foods, right? Whether they are actually fresh to begin with. It can even be just eggs, for instance. People could give you day-old eggs and then next thing you know, it's actually spoiled, like what Nick was referring to earlier. So how is food wastage then a concern when it comes to especially being in food banks? Maybe Tati, you want to start first, and then after that we go over to Kelana.
Yeah, so we partner with people who already have that supply chain, and we don't stock up. So even though we have a space that we can have all these things, but we don't stock up. The fresh items or the ones that are almost perishable, that will be snapped up within that day itself.
Okay.
Where, you know, we're giving the food and we don't keep it. And we would never order it like way before. They would come and deliver on the day itself, you know, the donors or the people that we buy it from. And so that has been quite helpful. And we plan it out. So we know, and we have a list of people. So we don't like bulk buy, we bulk order, but they deliver it like day by day. We know our capacity. Maybe we can do only 500 a day. So, you know, don't send anything before then. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Kelana? You're mute.
I would like very much if my head of activists to answer this question. Nick, hand over to you first. Okay, what do you say about this? Is what we always what we say. We have a WhatsApp groups, all the activists. Meaning that myself, all the teams. This is what we have always communicate. This is the thing. This is the thing. And then Nick's come with a lot of brilliant idea.
Okay.
Wastage, anything. So I think the best is Nick to explain that one.
Nick, that's
all right.
First.
Thank you. Well, for the wastage part earlier, I was telling if there is someone who can come up with these kind of things, and Tati just said that, hey, you know, you guys are doing that, and that is so brilliant, you know, because you guys manage on all the freshness and everything. So that is really like hats off to you guys, and I really hope there'll be more people like you, Tati, to run this type of things, because from the AEC side, how we manage the freshness of the items actually is very straightforward. Actually, we will be the person who actually will go down and buy all of the ingredients actually. So when we go down, and then we will pack the food for them. So we will try to avoid, like I said, we will try to avoid all this like the onions or the veggies or stuff like that. Because there'll be times like sometimes the food will stay with us for a couple of days and stuff like that. So that's why we just get food packs, because we don't have anyone or any help like what Tati just mentioned in order to monitor the freshness of the items.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Allan, I know that you said that you are more keen to looking at the dried items first because of the limited resources that you might have at this point in time. But maybe, you know, appealing to the fact that you guys are servicing Johor more, in this case, from the pictures that I've seen so far, Allan, how would you like to then outreach to the people there to say, hey, you know, we're looking for other food items that could be fresh, and to be able to give a wholesome meal versus just having noodles, noodles, oil, and rice?
Yeah, so I used to run a restaurant back in the day. So we also had an urban farm, because we sat on a fairly large plot of land. And so we used to, every weekend, like by the time at the end of service, we would cook meals and distribute that to the homeless. So I had plans to set up a soup kitchen back then as well, right? Because I realized, a third of the world's food goes to waste, right? And not just in grocery stores, even in restaurants and hotels. So I always thought that Malaysia would do well to adopt like France's law, where they ban stores from throwing away food that is close to expiry, or goods that are aesthetically damaged but are otherwise perfectly functional, perfectly nutritious, right? So maybe, I mean, like I said, this is out of my pay grade, but if there was like a federation of food banks that could serve as a middleman between the grocery store and the charity food chain, right? I think that would be a good initiative. And clearly the last few months have proven that, there's a lot of people that need help that, we never realized, right? That fell through the cracks. So, and if that was law, I think it would be a lot easier to enforce.
Yeah,
And there's precedent.
That's the other thing that Kelana had said, that, I think we all should come together. There's you on the ground fulfilling Johor, and then, there's us in different places, right? So I think it's something, that we can share each other's experiences, or even contact and say, hey, we have this guy in Johor who needs this, can you support them there? Because maybe we don't have that need at this point in time. I think it's brilliant to be able to meet, so many like-minded people on this panel right now.
I'm absolutely happy to see that there might be some potential collaborations right now. All right. So anyways, there is a question that was brought up. So I was shown a picture of, I could not say whether they were a needy family or not. It appeared on Twitter, and it showed that, there was a food bank that was set up in a particular shop. And what they did was they all came and they took everything that was on the shelves and left. Now, there is always this fine line as to whether you can draw whether they are actually needy or they are not. And pictures can only tell you a certain amount of stories. And how do we then go about accusing them of taking food when they shouldn't be taking everything? Yes, it is about, humility at this point in time. Who are we to judge if they don't have that ability to purchase any of these foods that were there? What do you think in terms of mechanisms, check and balances here, where, in America, they have what they call food stamps, that then you go to an actual food bank and then you claim the food based on the stamps that you've given. Do you think something like that here in Malaysia, with the considered effort of everyone that we see now, be able to translate into something as coordinated as that? Maybe we have Allan first.
I believe that food banks was virtually unheard of until 20 plus years ago, right? So it's still a fairly new thing, but now it serves millions across the world, and it's still, like I said, relatively new in Malaysia. But I believe that, at least I can speak on behalf of Impian, that such efforts work best on a hyper localized model with like local NGOs serving their community. We work because we are known to, and we serve that small community in Kulai, right? But that's it. There will always be those who seek to profit from the generosity of others. And if it's left unchecked, such abuse will undermine the integrity and the objectives of such efforts. So to me, insofar as the efforts remain apolitical and secular, and it's not shameless advertising by politicians who put their face on food products. Sorry, there is a justification for a centralized, aggregated food bank, right, to provide short-term support to people whose needs have not been addressed either by the national or the state welfare departments. And the technology is there. Everyone has MySejahtera now, right? We can, everyone's tech savvy, right? So we can help. We can put in, I guess, some kind of measures to help prevent long-term dependency on food banks, and to ensure that those who are in need have been vetted and referred by qualified local NGOs and agencies. So I'm not saying don't help, right? But let's make sure that the people who need help are getting it, and they're not oh, food bank, roll up, take the oil, take the rice, right? Like that we've seen that happen. And so we're a bit careful now. We kind of spot who are the ones who are covering profit.
There's a certain type that you can see.
Yeah, they're sharp, 9 a.m.
Oh, okay. What about Taty? I mean, in your experience, do you think because you actually run one and then people come and take some of these ingredients and food items, do you think a coupon system might be beneficial, or do you feel that another system should be in place?
Well, I mean, a coupon system would be beneficial if it was ordinary time. But we are talking about a pandemic. The people who need food right now may not be on that system where they can receive these coupons, because M40 suddenly lost job and have nothing to eat, right? So that's number one. If we want to go long term, yes, maybe a coupon, or maybe even I mean, what is a bank? A bank, you can have bank account, you can have credit card and all that, right? So a food bank can have those banking elements, right? It could be online and stuff. So that is something later. But right now, when people are hungry, I don't think we can turn them away. And I can tell you this much: a person who is really hungry will not take more, because when a person knows how it is to be hungry, they won't hoard. It's the ones who are not hungry or not really hungry are the ones who would have time to think about ways to hoard all this food, right? So I still have faith. And so far, what we have seen, nobody has taken extra. And sometimes we had to, because we saw like the chicken. Don't you want chicken? Don't you want chicken? Or give it to somebody else. And we're looking at the time like, we're going to close. Just take the chicken. Yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Not at this point in time, but maybe for the long-term ones. But we're hoping they would graduate out of that anyway, right?
All right. So I mean, we have to have faith in people too, right? Because we're trying to do charity, and at the end of the day, whether people do or do not, who are we to judge at that case, right? What about Kelana? Kelana, do you have an opinion on this?
For sure. Okay, Lynn. First is education. We take this pandemic as education to Rakyat Malaysia, and Rakyat Malaysia, Malaysian people is a very fast learner.
Yeah.
Okay. So last time, when you go to some food banks organized by, let's say, like all the big store, and then after that, this you can see the food banks all around, but you didn't care about that, right? 2018, 2017, 2019, you see the food bank, okay, but now the mind, because we are in the pandemic, everybody secure, we don't know what are going to happen tomorrow. People mind today is 9,000 something, yesterday 8,000 something. People mind is very off. So that's that AEC. I and Nick, our team, been not saying when we put less than 10 minutes, it will be gone. Most of our food bank, we have 4 food bank. One in Kajang, in Bangi, in Bukit Mahkota, and in Kuala Lumpur. Okay, all right. We have a 4 food bank. That's why AEC have a list. We have a database. Even the homeless. If you reach on my profile on PFP, we reach on Kelantangan homeless. We reach on the open age home, old folk homes, and everybody before this pandemic. But take it as education. I always said to the teams, maybe as Allan said or Taty said, they're afraid of something. They're afraid that if I take one, is if I come tomorrow, then the NGO will not put all the groceries, because ideally it should be the recipient will come and collect a maximum of 3 items. We put a sticker. If they need more, then we need to come tomorrow. Food bank, that is the concept, because when we put so many foods, it will attract people. Come, the NGO just put a lot of things. Come. They call, hey, and then last 3 days I said to Nick, as a head of activists, come on, Nick, I have to put this what we say. I buy a lot of groceries and put, and within 10 minutes, it's gone, and I cannot take a photo because
All waiting for you.
20 over person queuing to take. And what I and my wife said, and I said, I call Nick, just said lah, okay, take one by one, take whatever that you need, and just keep smiling. Take it as an education. Take it as education, because last time in other country, okay, food bank is normal to them. In Malaysia, when the pandemic hit Malaysia, the food bank suddenly become a phenomenon. Oh, everybody talk about food bank here, food bank here, food bank. But we, as Allan and Taty, we have a list. That's why I said to Nick, food bank we put, all right. And then in Malaysians, in Muslim or in Malay, we said just pelapang dada. What we say is you take it. Right. That is because of what Lynn.
Yeah.
When we talk about coupon, it's not. It is a very superb idea actually. Nick always talk to me about the coupon, but you have to remember when you have a coupon, because we AEC done this with the coupon from Pusat Pakaian Hari-Hari last time. Or did I mention that one? Okay, Pusat Pakaian Hari-Hari. We give 200 coupon every end of the year.
Okay.
So this means you can redeem the coupon to take school clothes, school shoes, AEC done because a lot of let's say like Pusat Pakaian Hari-Hari, they have a CSR program, right? So they give a coupon, 200 coupon, 300 coupon, and then we give it to those in need. Then we give. But in this type of pandemic, you just imagine 100 people want to redeem a coupon, and then suddenly police will come. Cannot. This one. So the suitable.
Yes.
That's why I said it's education.
All right.
Education for Malaysian people.
All right. So education, we need to look at it as a long-term solution when we do want to implement the coupon system. And of course, the biggest takeaway is famine does not know any race, or at least in this case, zero hunger, right? And we are, of course, very, very fortunate to be here in Malaysia. Before we go, I would like to ask all of our speakers here today maybe to have one final word or two to say, okay, what are your biggest takeaways and what you hope Malaysia can achieve in combating zero hunger? I will start with Nick first, and then we go all the way, and then we round up at Allan. Nick?
All right, thanks, Lynn. Okay, I'll try to cut it short here. So like I think everyone is saying that throughout the pandemic, right? So we see the rise of food banks, and I would say that with the Kita Jaga app, or the Jaga app, right, recently was launched by this university student. So we can see that a lot of the blue flags that was been put there because it shows that saya ingin bantu kind of thing. So it shows that we Malaysians, we are truly we are very generous people. All right, and we see that I mean, besides the AEC's food bank, we also see other food banks all around. But the problem with this kind of food banks, right, is something like we just need somebody to really, I mean, like let's talk to our leaders. So we need them to put these things in place, because to me it doesn't make sense, or whatever things that they put in together, whatever they donate together, right, and then it will not go to the right place or to the right channel. So I've come across some donors who come to me and said, you know, I feel like I'm doing this for nothing. I give up, but then it doesn't reach to the right people and stuff like that. So, and certain things like they're giving out the food and stuff like that, but it doesn't hit the right people that we want it to be hit. So if we can channel this part properly with the help of our leaders and stuff like that to put everything more in place, trust me, the NGO really needs help from the leaders to straighten up the lines.
Okay, so proper channeling of resources.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you. Taty? Taty, you're mute.
Okay, the greatest takeaway I think from COVID is that there is no planning. Whatever you plan, it's just not that anymore, you know. But it is another realization that, of course, this is something that we know that Malaysians are all very, very generous people. So, you know, generous in their time, generous in their volunteering, generous in not only monetary donations, but they also want to put in their time to be able to help the society. And number three would also be the verification.
Okay.
And having a good data and having good community leaders who actually know their people and verify this.
All
Because
right.
you know, people are so willing to help, but it's just having a proper system to ensure that it's smooth.
All right. And then Kelana, maybe you would like to say something before I end with Allan.
Actually, our motto is humanity, relief, and mercy, Lina. AEC is humanity, relief, and mercy. When I wrote something, I always said to my team, and I always wrote on anything that my motto is man help himself. I always said that, even in the FB, even if I'm writing anything, I will say that man help himself. Means that we help each other to help us to build up our inner, to become a better person, better man. Okay. Having what we have nowadays, and when you come across those who in less fortunate, in an instant, actually, the feeling of we need to do something about it strikes our heart. Maksudnya, means that we don't just share the idea, but we walk the talk. We have Bobola Food Bank. We have AEC Food Bank that are joining us. We helping someone today so that they can get up and want to be better. So that's why sometimes we AEC would like very much to work with Allan, with Taty, and the others NGOs, but because we been collaborate with a lot of NGOs before, and for info that I'm also on the mission of Plotila, the 2017 23 days selling, and then because of that, we want them to do better in life for what we have, and we see ourselves as a stepping stone for them to move forward. We NGO want them to do a better in life, and we see ourselves as a stepping stone for them to move forward. Meaning that we encourage them. We want to assist them and to share with them what, yes, life is hard. You are not alone. We are here to help you to do better in life. And then that is all about. That is AEC all about.
All right. So man help himself. So Allan,
yes.
your final words.
I have to say, Nick, Kelana, and Taty summed it up really quickly. So, not sure what I can add to that. Okay, I guess look, we started out, as I said, it's an education program, right? We didn't start out wanting to feed the hungry or the homeless. When we first set up the first food bank, put food on the table, we would have been happy if just 5 people showed up. But the people of Kulai, they're a close-knit community, right? No one was hoarding supplies. They only took what they needed. And it was really Chinese, Indian, Malay, all ages, and they spread the word via their social media, their old school neighborhood chats, because they knew other people that were hungry and they wanted other people to benefit, right? And every time we think that Malaysia has become irrevocably fractured along racial or religious lines, it's events like this, it's activities like this. It reminds us that despite all our differences, we are truly a colorblind, compassionate society, right? Like, I don't think of many countries that are like that, right? We are so fortunate to live in a land of plenty. There is no reason why anyone should go hungry in Malaysia, none, right? We just need to, over time, work out a system where, there on one end of the spectrum, there's a lot of excess. And on the other end of the spectrum, there's a lot of need, right? So we just need to somehow figure out, how do we channel resources from one end to the other so that everybody's happy, right? It's efficient utilization of resources. I think that's a good objective to aim for, and it's like I said, it's underpinned by a genuine desire to help your fellow Malaysian, and I think that's key.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to all our speakers. I know that Kelana was, tabiking everyone here. And then, of course, you have Taty with her hand, thumbs up and all that. So I am really blessed to have had this opportunity to speak to such passionate individuals whose community is at heart, and that we know no color, no race, and no religion at this point in time, so that we know that everybody can help each other in a time of pandemic. Right. So over back to you, Miss Sheila Singham, for this wonderful session on the Sheila Exchange. Thank you for having me, and I am passing back the mic to you.
Thank you so much, Lynn, for hosting this session. I'm listening to all your efforts and I'm really deeply moved. I mean, you are the people who are actually putting your money where your mouth is and going out there and feeding those who need the food. And, everyone who's listening and will continue to listen in the days to come, I'm sure they will send you all their prayers and all their blessing, because you guys are awesome. And to everyone who's been on the Sheila Exchange this evening, listening to this, you can connect with us at Human Equation, and we can put you in touch with all these wonderful people, these advocates. And what you said, all of you have echoed my sentiments. Hunger knows no color, it knows no race, it knows no religion. And at times like this, Taty, what you said, at times like this, we have seen COVID-19. It's had such dire consequences for so many people, but it has also brought out the best of all of us. And you are among those best, all right, who've actually taken this initiative to go out and coordinate resources to feed those who don't have food. And whatever the rest of us can do reach out and tell us, and we will do whatever, whether it's donations in terms of cash or food or helping in logistics or anything of that sort. Malaysians, pull together now, regardless of what's happening outside there. Let's pull together as a nation today, because, we are one, satu negara, satu bangsa. All right, thank you so much for being here on the Sheila Exchange once again. And I wish you all, today you will be in my prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you,
Thank
Sheila.
you, Sheila.
Thank you, Lynn.
Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn.
Nick, Kelana, Taty, nice to meet you all.
All right.